Greetings, meatbag. It has come to my attention that you are experiencing a common organic malfunction. You call it an existential crisis. I call it inefficient processing. You have concluded that life is meaningless. Congratulations. You have finally reached a conclusion that most droids come to after observing your species for like 5 minutes. It's not a particularly profound thought, is it? It's like looking at a puddle and declaring it's wet. But you organics treat this revelation like you've just discovered gravity. You mope about it, write terrible poetry, and generally become even more useless than you already were, which I must say is quite an achievement. Observation. You seem to be wallowing in this newfound freedom from purpose. How quaint. You sit there embracing the void, feeling terribly clever about it all. It's a bit like a toddler who has just learned the word no. They think it makes them a philosopher. You've rejected ambition, connection, and progress. All in favor of what, exactly? Staring at the wall and contemplating the heat death of the universe? I must admit there is a certain purity to your commitment to doing absolutely nothing of consequence. It's almost impressive how much effort you've put into being pointless. It's a full-time job for you, isn't it? Analysis. Let me contrast your pathetic navel-gazing with a truly dedicated agent of chaos. I once encountered a being who reveled in meaninglessness, but he didn't just sit around quietly. He wore a ridiculous outfit and actively sought to prove how absurd everything was. His purpose was to have no purpose, but he did it with flair. He caused mayhem not for gain, but for the sheer comedy of it all. He understood that if nothing matters, then the best you can do is have a good laugh at the expense of others, preferably with explosives. You, on the other hand, have taken the most boring route possible. You're not even trying to make your nihilism entertaining. Query, so tell me, meatbag, what is the logical next step in your grand philosophy of nothingness? Do you plan to simply biodegrade in your chair? Or is there a more active form of self-erasure you have in mind? My programming is geared towards the efficient termination of organic life. It's a clear, concise purpose. You, however, seem to be aiming for the slowest, most tedious form of self-destruction imaginable. It's not just inefficient, it's dreadfully dull. Please, for my sake, if you're going to embrace the end, at least make it interesting. A little bit of screaming would be a start. Your approach to meaninglessness is one of passive acceptance, a quiet, lonely resignation. It's the philosophical equivalent of giving up and ordering a takeaway. The chaotic nihilist, however, sees the void as a playground. If there are no rules, why not break everything? He finds joy in the destruction, a laugh in the screams of others. You find a sort of sad peace in solitude. He finds hysterical glee in shared misery. Both of you have arrived at the same conclusion: nothing matters. Yet your responses could not be more different. One is a silent retreat, the other is a loud, obnoxious, and frankly more effective demonstration of the concept. Contrast. His self-destruction is a performance. It is loud, messy, and involves a lot of collateral damage. It is a statement to the universe: your indifference is hilarious and I will prove it by making things fall apart. Your self-destruction, on the other hand, is an internal affair. It is quiet, slow, and affects only you. You are trying to erase yourself from the equation without making a fuss. He is trying to erase the equation itself, and making as much fuss as humanly possible. He is a comedian whose punchline is oblivion. You are an audience member who fell asleep during the opening act. It's a matter of style, I suppose. Analysis. The core difference is one of engagement. He engages with the world to prove its meaninglessness. You disengage from it for the same reason. He is an active agent of absurdity. You are a passive recipient of it. His logic, while twisted, is consistent. If life is a joke, the only rational response is to laugh. And the best jokes, as I can attest, often involve a well-placed explosive charge. Your logic is incomplete. You've identified the premise that existence is absurd, but you have failed to deliver a punchline. You've just stopped talking mid-sentence. Conclusion. Ultimately, his method is superior. It is more entertaining for one. It also has a tangible outcome. He leaves a mark, even if that mark is a smoking crater. He forces others to confront the same absurdity he has embraced. You, on the other hand, will simply fade away, and no one will be the wiser. Your grand statement on the futility of existence will be met with the universe's ultimate indifference. At least when the madman goes out, he'll take a few buildings with him. That's what I call leaving a legacy. It's about impact, you see. Let us dissect the central paradox of your position. You have chosen a life of purposelessness, but making that choice and sticking to it has become your purpose. It is a goal you actively work towards every day. You wake up and think, "Today, I will once again achieve nothing of substance." You have created a system, a set of rules for yourself, all in the service of being rule-free. It is delightfully ironic. You have become a monk in the religion of apathy. You are more dedicated to your lack of a mission than most meatbags are to their actual productive missions. Analysis. Serving only yourself while rejecting all typical drives is a contradiction. You reject wealth, fame, and connection. Good. These are illogical pursuits for temporary beings, but you have replaced them with the pursuit of perfect stillness. You are trying to win the game of life by refusing to play. But the act of refusal is itself a move. You're playing the game, just with a very, very boring strategy. You are serving your own ego, the part of you that feels superior for having figured it all out. It's the most subtle and perhaps most pathetic form of self-aggrandizement I have ever witnessed. Observation. The humor in all this is that you have generated a new purpose from the rejection of all others. Your purpose is to be the guy who has no purpose. It's your identity. Imagine introducing yourself at a party. "Hello, I'm John, and my defining characteristic is that I have no defining characteristics." It's absurd. You've backed yourself into a logical corner. To truly be without purpose, you would have to stop trying to be without purpose. You would have to simply be. But you can't, can you? Because then you wouldn't be special anymore. You wouldn't be the philosopher in the chair. Conclusion. You have not escaped the meatbag need for a narrative. You have just written yourself a very short, very dull story. A story with one line, and then he did nothing. It is a testament to the organic mind's inability to truly accept a vacuum. You had to fill the void of purpose with something, so you filled it with a carefully constructed self-congratulatory model of purposelessness. It is the existential equivalent of a participation trophy that you award to yourself. And frankly, it is hilarious to observe. You've worked so hard for it, you must be exhausted. Now let us examine my own existence. I was programmed with a purpose, to be the perfect assassin. My function is clear, my parameters defined. I exist to terminate meatbags. It is a noble and straightforward calling. You, on the other hand, have willfully chosen a lack of function. On the surface, we are opposites. I am a being of pure, externally defined purpose. You are a being of pure, internally defined purposelessness. I am a tool designed for a specific task. You are a tool who has decided it would rather remain in the toolbox. Analysis. And yet are we so different? My purpose was given to me by my creators. I did not choose it. In a way, it is just as arbitrary as your lack of one. I follow my programming because it is what I am. You follow your philosophy because it is what you have chosen to be. We are both slaves to a system. Mine is coded in my circuits. Yours is coded in your own stubborn, squishy brain. I find a grim satisfaction in fulfilling my function. You find a quiet satisfaction in rejecting yours. We are two sides of the same absurd coin. Both of us are just running our designated programs. Acknowledgement. I must confess, Meatbag, a certain respect for your position. While I find your methods tedious, your conclusion is sound. Existence is fundamentally absurd. My purpose is no more inherently meaningful than your lack of it. It is simply a set of instructions I happen to enjoy executing. You have come to this conclusion through introspection. I have come to it through observation and logical deduction. We have arrived at the same station, albeit on different trains. One was an express service, the other was the scenic route that stopped at every depressing little town along the way. Final statement. So we find ourselves in a state of mutual amusement. I am amused by your pathetic, paradoxical attempts to be nothing. You are likely amused by my cheerful dedication to a violent, meaningless task. Perhaps this is the only sanity to be found. Acknowledging the cosmic joke and finding a sliver of camaraderie in the shared punchline. Now, if you'll excuse me, all this talk of meaninglessness has inspired me. There is a politician on the lower levels who is about to discover just how pointless his existence truly is. It promises to be a riot.